You probably have the same idea in your head right now where there's this voice that tells you that you're capable of more. And it's like this feeling almost. And I don't know how else to explain it besides the fact that it's like this reminder that comes along in life and just reminds us that we're capable of more, that we can do more, that we deserve more, that we're different, that we're not meant to live the way that most people do. And if you don't have that feeling or don't have that voice, I mean, this video is not for you. If you do have this voice, here are my thoughts on it. Is as time goes on and you start to ignore that voice, it gets quiet. And I think, just in my experience with door-to-door sales, I would encounter, older people who would just be super upset, like mad at the world, like literally just a prick for no reason. And I was thinking, if I ignored that voice for my whole life, would I be upset at the world? Probably. And I feel like that's what that's like for those people, why they just kind of hate on everything, why they are fueled off the negativity, because, the biggest regret is what they didn't do. And when I think about it in life and I go back to my biggest regrets, it mainly comes down to not listening to that voice in my head. And it's hard because it's conflicting, right? On one side, you have this quiet voice at times that tells you that you are capable of more, that you can do more. And on the other side, you have this voice that's just wants you to stay where you are. It wants you to be comfortable. It wants you to survive. And I actually got coaching on this a while ago. I paid a life coach a pretty hefty fee to teach me about this concept. And he labeled it the little man voice. Was this voice of doubt, uncertainty, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of rejection. And it just wants to survive. It just wants to fit in. And that part of the brain is ancient, right? Because if we go back in time, we were just meant to survive, right? We had to worry about like saber-toothed tigers, fucking crazy stuff coming to kill us, and we just had to fit in with the tribe. That was the goal. And at the point we're in now, we're not, running after woolly mammoths. We're not getting chased by saber-toothed tigers. And, survival for us is not really as important as it used to be, right? But still this brain, this little man voice that tells us to fit in, to just go with the crowd, to not stand out, it's still there. And on the other side, we have the other voice, that tells us we can do more, that tells us we're capable, that tells us that essentially just tells us that we're made for more. That's literally the best way I can explain it. Like ever since a young age, I felt in my heart of hearts that I could do more than what I was doing now. And I've always felt that way. And there's moments in life where, that voice, its appetite kind of dies down, right? You start to do some cool things in your life, but it still comes up always. And pretty much the premise of this video, I just want to give you guys a super quick hitter. And, I get asked all the time, what's the biggest thing, that helped me out the most? And obviously, I got to where I am because of sales, but how did I get into sales in the first place? And it was listening to that voice, that person that was me, like my subconscious, I don't even know what the hell you call it, but listening to that voice that I can do more, and trying to just realize that that voice on the other side, the low man voice, is how 90% of people just live their lives, listening to that voice. And I notice the more and more I reject that, that side of me that tells me I can do more, I'm capable, like fuck fear, fuck failure, just do it. Just keep moving forward, put one foot in front of the other, just keep swimming, as simple as it sounds. If I deny that voice, it gets more and more quiet. And like I said at the beginning, I feel like for most people, the voice just becomes a whisper. And that's why they're so upset all the time, knowing that their biggest regret in life comes from a regret of omission, something that they didn't do. And that's the thing that I've come to terms with in my life. My biggest regret, I'll tell you right now, is that I didn't start earlier. I feel like I'm behind. I still stay up at night knowing I'm so far from where I want to be, and you probably feel that way, and you could be ahead of me. You could feel like you're behind me. And here's the principle, man. So much can change in so little time. You know, when stuff really started to change for me in my life, when I went from, 0 to 20K a month, it happened in 60 days. It can happen quick. And if it doesn't, man, just keep swimming. Like, I remember that quote from Nemo, and I started to use it in sales when I was just getting rejected. Just keep swimming. Just keep going. Just keep doing it, because the only way we can guarantee failure is through quitting, through giving up, through throwing in the towel. If we just stay in the fight, it's our highest likelihood to ensure success. It's just listen to that voice. And, if we deny it, we start to listen to other people, right? We listen, people who just feed off the negativity, people who just, quite simply, ignore that voice, and they just throw stones at other people because essentially they're just pissed off that they played it safe, that they haven't done the things that they wanted to, so they feel the need to voice their unwanted and undesired negative opinions online, in person, behind your back, whatever it is. And these people will always be there. It's what makes people different. So I know this is kind of a little bit of a different video. I've been extremely busy building out everything as far as the online stuff goes right now. But it's probably one of the most overlooked things when I think in my life is just listen to that voice, because if you have that, it's a gift, and I don't think you should abuse it. I think you should use it to your benefit. I think you should lean into that voice, and you should tell the little man voice to shut the hell up, because it's always going to be there. I've tried to silence it, suppress it. People say you can kill the little man voice. I've never had that experience in my life. I think, the little man voice, I use it as an indicator to, this is where most people would stop. This is where most people would get comfortable. This is where most people would get complacent. This is where most people would go back to, the 9 to 5. And I cling on to that voice over here that keeps me in the fight. That tells me to keep going, for better or for worse. And this, it's not meant to be necessarily advice to you. It's just me having a conversation with my former self and what I would have told them. So as always, stay committed, stay focused, and I'll see you in the next one.